Hey there, welcome back to Nancy's Homestyle Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a less mess, no-carve Easter ham. Let's get started. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need. I'm going to use a 3 1/3 pound boneless spiral cut ham. You can use a larger ham if you have more people to feed, but there's only going to be about 3 of us, so this is the perfect size. I have a 20-ounce can of pineapple rings or slices. We're going to use a ½ teaspoon each of cinnamon, paprika, and ginger. I'm going to use a dash of nutmeg and a dash of cloves. We're going to use a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, ½ cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of butter, and a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. The first thing we need to do is make the glaze. So we'll head on over to the stove and get that started. I opened the can of pineapple and I drained the rings and reserved the juices. Here I have 3/4 cup of pineapple juice. So we're going to start by pouring that into our sauce pot. And I'm going to turn it up to high. Pour this in our sauce pot, and then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. I have the 2 tablespoons of butter, ½ cup of brown sugar, the tablespoon of Dijon mustard, the 2 tablespoons of honey. All right. And then we will do the spices and end with the Worcestershire sauce so I don't get my teaspoon wet before I need to use all the dry stuff. It's a ½ teaspoon each of cinnamon, paprika, and ground ginger. Okay, a dash of ground nutmeg, and I go really light on the cloves because I think cloves can be a little overpowering. So that's it. It's kind of just a pinch. And then finally, this is for sure 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay. Now I'm just going to get my favorite little whisk and whisk this up. And I want to bring it to a boil and cook it for about 5 minutes until it reduces into a nice syrup. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. It's been about 5 minutes and this has thickened up nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the flame off and let this sit here while we carve the ham. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and that's the temperature that we'll need to bake this. So we'll go over and carve the ham. To slice the ham, we just want to follow the slices that have already been started for us. So just take your knife and go down, and you can kind of spread each slice apart with your fingers and just make sure your knife stays level and you're not cutting in like this, because then your slices will start to get wonky. So I'm just going to go down and just create really nice slices. All right, our ham is all sliced, and we'll get the rest of the ingredients and we'll begin to layer the dish. I have a 9 by 13 baking dish that I have sprayed with an avocado oil spray. And let's start with the smaller pieces of ham, the ones on the end that we cut, because I want to reserve the larger, prettier pieces for the top that everyone is going to see. So I'm just going to start laying these in the dish, just in alternating pattern until we fill up the bottom. You can already see how nice this is going to look when it's being served, and then how easy it is just to get a piece without trying to, grab 1 piece of ham, but you actually grab like 2. Then we'll take some of our glaze and we're just going to drizzle some over the ham slices. And I would say I probably used about 1/3 of it. Then here's our drained pineapple rings. Just gonna layer these here. It's gonna bring out more of that pineapple flavor. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm gonna take the next pieces of ham and we're gonna layer those on again. And I think I'm just gonna have probably enough just to do this one final row. Nice. Let's get all the ham in there. And then I'm gonna put the rest of the pineapple rings on there. And we'll pour the rest of the glaze on top. I'd rather have a little bit more glaze for the top because it can soak down between the layers and get the additional layers below. And you want to get some covering those pineapple slices too. It'll help kind of caramelize those at the end of the bake. Okay, I'm going to get some foil because we want to bake this covered at first. That's about right. Now I got it on both sides. Okay, whatever. Again, the oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I'm gonna put this in there for 30 minutes and then I will take the foil off and bake it for around another 15 to 30 minutes. It just depends how caramelized it is on top and what I want it to look like. After that first 30 minutes, I might go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on top just to help that caramelization occur. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I let this cook for a full 30 minutes. So 30 minutes covered, 30 minutes uncovered, and let me show you how it looks. It looks and smells amazing. As you can see, the pineapple rings and the slices of ham have a nice caramelization on top. I'm going to use a spoon and just kind of drizzle some of this juice all over the ham and the pineapple. It's actually kind of surprising how much juice this makes during the cooking process. But that's what's going to keep it nice and tender to eat and super flavorful. You can definitely smell the pineapple and a bit of sweetness. So let's give it a try and see how it's turned out. And see, you can just easily grab one piece of ham. You're not thinking you're grabbing one piece and you're pulling two more with it. Super easy to serve. I really like that. And I like the fact too that I bought a 3 1/3 pound boneless ham and I'm using the entire ham. I don't have a ham bone now that I'm gonna swear I'm gonna make some beans later and throw it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer, and then 6 months later I find it at the bottom of the freezer. So let's give this a try and see how it's turned out. It is really good. Perfect level of sweetness. It's not overly sweet. Sometimes I find the hams with the brown sugar glaze, the really thick glaze, a little too sweet. This to me tastes perfect. Again, less mess than normal. We're not trying to carve it up while it's hot. And this is going to be a perfect rotation for my Easter dinner. And I hope you give it a try. If you do, let me know in the comments what you think, and I will catch you on the next video.